I will wait for another 2 minutes. Let a few people more join in, then I will start off with today's class. And is my voice audible to you all, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Okay. So let's start off with today's class. So in the last class, we were discussing about this address calculation of a data element in array. And for that, this was the first I am writing in short form today. This is the formula. Okay, so this was the formula which we were discussing, where address of any element where k will denote the index of that element will be equal to the base address of the element plus the word size. Word size means the type of variables the array will handle. If it is integer, it is of 2 bytes. If it is character, if it's of 1 byte. So like this will be the value of w accordingly, 2, 1 like this. And lower bound means from where the array starts, and we all know that the array index by default starts from 0. Okay, so suppose now the question is, suppose a problem is given that given an array of int marks, this is the array of int marks, where the different elements like this. Okay, so these are the elements in my array, and we are asked that calculate the address of this location, marks 4, where the base address is given as 1000. Okay, so base address is provided as 1000. It is saying that my array holds integer values. These are the values which was provided, and this is the location which I have to search. So suppose this is my array. Okay. Like this, suppose. So this is my 0th location, 1th location, 2 location, 3 location, 4, 5. Like this it is going on. And my numbers are 99, 67. So like this it is going on, right? So I have been asked to find my this location's address. And it is said that my address is starting from this base address at 1000. So what will be my thing? I have to find what is the value of k first. Anyone? What is the value of k?
मैम कौन सा फर्स्ट पोजीशन के लिए मैम?
K.
Ma'am, 56.
K is the index. What is the value of my k?
4.
0 ma'am.
I need to search marks of 4th location. So 4th is my index. This is my k, right? K is equal to 4. So this is my k. So the formula is base address. What is my base address?
1000.
Right. If I am handling integers, what is my word size?
मैम 4 bytes.
Integer is 4 bytes.
Yes मैम.
Integer is how many bytes?
मैम 4.
Integer is 4 bytes. My goodness. Integer is how many bytes? Size of one integer is how many bytes? 2 bytes.
Ma'am. Yes ma'am.
मैम मेरे कंप्यूटर में 4 bytes था मैम.
है? तुम्हारा
Yes,
कंप्यूटर
ma'am.
में 4 bytes है?
Yes मैम.
बाबा. Anyways. So 2, value of k is 4. And what is the lower bound index of my array? Array index starts from?
99.
Array index starts from 99.
0.
0 ma'am.
0.
Element
Index
is
0.
different, index is different. Element starts from 99, index starts from 0. So if I do all these things, this will give me 8000 plus 8 is equal to 1008. Now if I verify, so this is the address of my marks 4. Now if you also verify literally, you can also find that if my integer is of 2 bytes each and if my address starts from 1000, so the next consecutive location will be 1002, the next will be 1004, next will be 1006, next will be 1008. So if you do it verbally also, you can also clarify that yes, my 4th index address will be 1008 in the memory location. Okay. So this is the way how using this formula we calculate the address of our array. Now I will give you one sum. And you need to do and tell me the value. One minute. Okay. So I will give you like this. Can anyone tell Okay. So the next thing which we will be learning is calculating the length of an array. Okay. So you can say that if I start from this location, suppose I have this many number of divisions. I start from 0, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, right? So what is the length of my array? Can anyone say?
Ma'am, 5.
5, right?
5.
So the last index from where it is plus 1. So the formula of this is generally written as, that is upper bound
minus lower
minus lower bound
plus 1.
plus 1. Okay. So my upper bound is 4, my lower bound is 0. So 4 minus 0 plus 1, which gives us 5. So this is the formula, that is the length of an array is the number of elements stored in that array, and the general formula is written like this. Okay. So now we will study that how do we store elements in an array. Okay. So we all know that when we declare, we can store there. So storing of values in an array, 3 ways are there. That is, we will discuss this one by one. Initialize elements during declaration. Or you can input the values for the elements from the keyboard. Or you can assign values to individual elements. Okay. So when we declare an array, we are just allocating some space for its elements. Like when you declare a value, you are just saying int marks 10. Right? This we declare, na? We declare it before using it. Int marks 10. It means that my array name is marks. My array type of variables which will marks array will handle is integer, and 10 maximum of 10 elements it will store. So once I initialize or declare this statement, then only, then and there, after executing in the statement, the compiler in the memory, it will block 10 spaces. It will allocate 10 spaces where the first space will start naming from mark 0. So this is the meaning of this entire statement. But when we declare it, we just declare it so that its space is allocated in the memory. But we do not input values to it. So no values are stored in the array. Now for storing these values, 3 ways are there. We can initialize the elements during declaration. We can input the values from the keyboard during the runtime, or we can assign values to the individual elements. Now how we can do it? One by one, let us see. Okay. 1 minute, I will just take the snapshot of the students. Okay. Now the first one, that is initialization. Okay. So elements can also be initialized during declaration. Suppose I am writing like this. Int marks, it will handle 5 elements and I am declaring the elements then and there. Okay, fine. So what is happening? Where I am declaring, there only I am initializing the values. After, suppose after starting your int main, this is the line which I am writing. This line will mean that in my memory 5 spaces are allocated, and in those 5 spaces it started from marks 0, and in that 5 spaces I am by default inputting these values. What this program will mean, whatever like element a whatever functions or calculations I do, this program will always run on this set of predefined element. You will not have the privilege of giving some other input while during runtime. But if you enter the program, you may change some value. So this is the meaning of this type of initialization. That is, within curly brackets, you give the elements. Within curly bracket, you give the elements and so on. Now, few things here I will write so that this type of declarations have a few other meanings as well. I will write it one by one. Suppose one example I just showed and another example is this. Okay. Can any agree? So these are the 5 spaces after declaration, but only 2 values are provided. Can anyone say what are the 3 values by default it will be padded with, or it will be filled up
0,
with?
0, 0.
So this
Zero,
is
ma'am.
also one
0.
type of declaration. That means here what you write is the maximum size of the array, but it is not necessary that you will have to enter 5 elements only. If you want, you can enter lesser elements. If your program demands lesser elements, you can do that, but you cannot overrun. You cannot enter 6 elements, but up to from 1 to 5 you can do, and the rest of the spaces it will be automatically be filled with zeros. Okay. Next is another form of declaration can be this. When you are initializing in declaration statement only the values, you can also write like this. If you notice, I have entered 6 elements, but I have left the maximum size of the space blank. This type of writing is also legal. This means it will have an array size of the number of elements entered only. Only 6 elements are entered, so only 6 spaces will be allocated, and in the 6 spaces like this, the elements will be filled up. So if you do not write maximum size, then also it is legal only when you will be initializing during the declaration statement only. But if you only write this statement, it is not legal, because here you are only declaring and not initializing. So for this index is mandatory, but if you are doing declaration and initialization together, you can leave this space blank. Okay. And suppose another is suppose I am writing like this. what will it do? It will block 5 places. You have only entered one element value. One element value is 0. Rest of the 4 elements value you have not entered. So automatically rest will be filled with 0. Okay. So these are the ways how you do the initialization process during declaration. The next method is how we initiate or input the values from the keyboard. Okay. For inputting values from keyboard, one concept is there. You have to use a loop. Okay. A while loop, a do while loop, a for loop, any loop you can use, but it is seen as discussed that for loop is the best for when it comes handling array elements. So for this, suppose first I will have to initialize my array first, declare my array first, and then I will have to use a loop. My loop will start from 0. It will go on till array less than 10 because array index will be from 0 to 9. So 0 to less than 10. In the process, it will do I++ and it will use a scanf statement, that is, it will take the values from the user. How this will run? And since I have used one variable I need to declare it also. Okay. So what does this things means? This things means once I have declared, this is my scenario in my memory. These are the 10 spaces allocated. Starting from 0, it has gone to 9, right? And I am starting my I from 0. So first my I is equal to 0. It will check the condition 0 is less than 10. Yes. So if it is true, it will enter into the loop. Then the statement is scanf, that is take one input. Sundar to do not write on the whiteboard, okay? It distracts me. So it will take an input from the user. So ampersand marks, we all know the scanf statement which is used to take an input from the user. So suppose I am giving an input, it will ask me, that is input a value. I am giving an input 90. So 90 will be stored. And once 90 is stored, it will go back and do I++. I has now from 0, it has been 1. Again, it will check the condition, that is 1 is less than 10. Yes, if it is true, it will enter and again asks for another value to enter. Suppose I am entering 82. It will go back and I from 1 will go to 2. 2 is less than 10. Yes, it will ask input one value. Suppose 84. So like this, it will go on till my 9 elements have been inputted. And the last statement, there will be 10 is less than 10, false. Once false, I won't be executing this statement. I will directly jump to the next of the statements, whatever is there in the program. Okay. So this is the method how we input values from the keyboard, that is at runtime, we take values from the keyboard. Okay. The next is assigning values to individual elements. Now, assigning values to individual elements, I will just show an example. Okay. assigning values to individual elements means, suppose I am declaring marks as 5. ठीक है? This means that my memory can hold up to 5 marks, and there, instead of declaring it one sentence, or instead of taking from the user one by one, I am doing. That means marks 0 I am inputting as 92, marks 1 I am inputting as 36, marks 2 I am inputting as 44. So like this I am doing. So these are the individual values which I am assigning. So using this assignment operator, I am, as this is the assignment operator, right? So using this assignment operator, I am assigning values to individual elements. These also can be written. So these are the 3 ways how we assign values to the elements. Okay. The most famous way is the loop, the for loop method. Why is that? Because we do not want to make our program so rigid. That is, this type of thing means that whenever this program will execute, it will only execute with this set of values. But in practically, we do not aim for those programs. We always want to program such a way that any value my user will input from the keyboard, it will run and it will show me the value, right? So we always aim for this. So we are always interested in this for loop concept, but for knowledge purpose, there are other methods of assigning values also, the other 2 methods we just discussed. So up to this, does anyone has any problem in understanding? Yes or no? Yes
Yes,
or
ma'am.
no?
Yes, ma'am. I have a
Okay.
doubt.
Now the next topic is the operations on array. Okay. Before that, I will just share the attendance screen so that it is easier for you to give the attendance. Wait. Okay. Okay. So everyone, please mark your attendance using this code. Okay. Please be fast and mark your attendance. So is the attendance done? Is there anyone who has not been able to do the attendance? Okay. Nikhil, you have raised your hand. Is there anything you want to say?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, बोलो.
मैम सेकंड वाला जो प्रोसेस है मैम कीबोर्ड से वैल्यू एंटर करने का,
हाँ.
उसमें मैम जो स्कैनफ वाला स्टेटमेंट मैम और एक बार बोल देंगी मैम थोड़ा.
तुम अच्छा, I am just asking, you people have studied C, right?
Yes, ma'am.
In your third semester, you people have studied C, and those who are from lateral entry, they must have studied this in their diploma course or something like. Okay, fine. I will explain once more.
Yeah.
Suppose if someone have not done that, you people please recapitulate that, okay? Because you people will be needing that. Still, I will explain, not an issue. Now we all know that scanf statement is used to take inputs from the user. For taking the input from the user, we all know that. So since I have declared int marks 10, that means in my memory 10 spaces has been allocated. And it is allocated like this, okay? So suppose 10 spaces is allocated. Now my counter will start from I equal to 0. When my I equal to 0, it will indicate this place because this is the 0th index. So first this is initialization, then it is checking that my I is less than 10, that is less than the maximum size of my array, yes. So if the condition is true, it will enter into the for loop, and inside the for loop, there is this statement. I haven't used brackets because if there is only one sentence pertaining to any loop, we do not use brackets. So once it is true, it will move on to this sentence and it will take the input from the user. It will ask, it will blink, the cursor will blink because it is asking for me to input one value from the user. And I am supposed inputting this value 92. So 92 will get stored there. Then it will move back. My next statement was I plus plus. So now from 0, I plus plus. I has been incremented by 1. Again, it will be going on through this loop. It goes on. Initialization of any loop is done once. Condition checking, if true, some thing is done, and increment. This thing goes on a loop. So again, it will check 1 is less than 10. So 1 is less than 10, true. If it is true, it will execute this statement that is asking from another value from user. Suppose I am inputting 82. Again, it will go back I plus plus. Now from 1, I is 2. I 1 plus 1, 2. Again, it will do the checking, that is 2 is less than 10. Yes. So if 2 is less than 10, I will input something from the user. Suppose the user inputs 46. Okay. So again, it will increment 3. So like this, it will move up. And as you can see, suppose in the 0th index, you have input something. In the first index, you are inputting something. In the second index, you are inputting this value. So like this, you will go on till 9th index and you will be inputting some values. And like this, from 0 to 9, all the index locations are filled with the desired values from the user. Is this thing clear now?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And when it will come out of this loop, when I will reach the value of 10. 10 is not less than 10, false. So this statement won't be executed. And if there are any other statements outside this loop, it will directly, the cursor will jump to the other statements, bypassing this statement. Whenever the condition is false in any loop, the statements included in that loop are never executed. It will jump to the other statements outside the loop. So if there is statement, it will run. If there are no statements, it won't run. So this is the concept, how we take input values using the for loop from the user. Nikhil, is it clear now?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, not an issue. Okay. So the several operations which can be performed and the algorithms of those operations we will be studying one by one. Okay. So the first operation that can be performed on any array is traversing, right? We can traverse the array. We can go through the array. The second operation, that insertion, we can insert any element in any location of an array. Next is deletion. We can delete any element from any location of an array. Next is searching. We can search for any element to see whether it is present or not in an array. Next is merging. We can merge two arrays, right? There is some array 1, there is array 2. We can merge these two array, and it may seem to us that after the elements in 1, the elements of 2 are started, and it is showing to me as a separate array 3. It can do. And there can be sorting. That is, we can sort the elements in my array. If there are jumbled elements, we can sort it in ascending order or descending order, whatever it is, we can sort it. And for sorting, several algorithms are there: bubble sort, quick sort, then merge sort, selection sort. One by one, all the algorithms and their complexities we will be learning. So these are the operations that can be performed on an array. So in the next class, we will be studying the algorithms for these operations one by one. Okay. So in this class, I will end here. So it is showing me less than 1 minute. I hope this class is clear to all. If you have any query, you can ask me. Okay. So since no one is asking, so thank you so much for attending this class.
Thank you, ma'am.